terms of your research then, how is it going to help the normal Indian person that's living in this situation and yet does not believe that there should be caste?
When I was in my childhood, I was never knowing the situation is happening. But some people in India, they are getting deprived of education, food, access, road, and they don't have right to read and all those things.
Hello and welcome Dr Dhaneswar Bhoi onto Ph.D. Hard Talk. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I've had the pleasure of reading through your abstract and getting to know you through your words. Could you please introduce your research to the wider audience at home?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much inviting me for this talk. I'm really grateful for this wonderful work you are doing in this area of giving a hope to the Ph.D. scholars as well as the postdoc scholars here. So my research is basically on the section of the people, those who are marginal, those who are downtrodden, those who are depressed class in India. So here I am with the Center for South Asian Studies, and my work basically highlights how the people struggling in their day-to-day life to get justice. So my paper is basically the journey of some section of the people, those who are called depressed class, how the Constitution of India giving them a space and safeguarding their interest to participate in a space where they can achieve equity as well as educational equity and social justice. So basically my paper is highlighting the notion of caste, how caste became a problem in Indian society, which Ambedkar also worked on, and he was a scholar, great scholar in India, and he studied both US and UK, and 100 years back in 1921 and 22, he was here in LAC, and he has done a tremendous of work into the social democracy. Actually, the movement of democratic India was started by him, and his abroad education helps him to give a justice some section of the people, those who need during that time, and their journey of from depressed class to scheduled status. So this is all about my works, how that depressed class became a affirmed status in Indian Constitution.
Okay, so I guess what I would like to understand is when you use the word caste, what is the definition in terms of the Indian society?
So I'm talking about how the discourse of the caste became a social justice premises topic where we can look back the Indian society. There are some section of the people who are denied their basic rights, starting from water, food, education, and so on. Their political right, they are denied by some particular group in India, not only like a few years back, like since 3,000 years ago, this community were like ostracized, stigmatized, and they were denied the basic rights. This journey, I will quote one author who is named as Pruthi. He did a research on 2012 when he studied the system, like the caste is a concept which was like making the society to ruin, and it started with the invasion of Aryan invasion, when the some group of the Eurasia community, those who are migrated from Europe and some part of the Russia, they arrived in the Sin civilization or Harappa civilization of India, which is the traditional civilization, and they fight with the original ethnic groups. And when the original group defeated by this group, Eurasian group, they are called Aryan. And some people, they run away to the jungle. And some people, they were in that place, and after defeated by the Aryans, so Aryans make them a slave, like to work with them, like for any service kind of thing, without any like remuneration, any wages. They are serving to that community. So they are become the lower strata of the society, and they became called the lower caste when this group, they have started Vedic system of religion, where that they started worshipping the natural forces like sun, air, and all those things. And they have developed a script called Manu Smriti. So whose author was Manu. His name was Manu. Basically, he is from the Brahmin community. So they have made the society with a fourfold system, that is like Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Brahmin means in that division of Varna, like which emerged from a religious scripture, where Brahmin emerged from the mouth of the creator. Like they believed that there is a creator who create this world. And Brahmin community, that group of the people, they come from the mouth of that god. That god name is Brahma. And after that, the second group, which is called Kshatriya, they basically come from the soldier of that god, Brahma. And after that, that Vaishya used to come from the thigh of that god. And the last fold of the system was like Sudra. Sudra was they born from the feet of the god Indra. That god Brahma who created the whole system, and he make a division, he make a marker of the society in fourfold systems. And coming to the Purthi's argument, where he said, like those who are defeated by the Aryans, and they became the slave, and these slave are the Sudra community. Like in that religious scripture, they make a permanent place as a Sudra, and this system was not changed. It was like by birth that is defined. Like once you are born with Shudra, you don't have option to move to Kshatriya or Vaishya or Brahmin. So Brahmin basically doing the job of worshipping God, puja, mantra, and all those things. They are close to the God. And Kshatriya, they are the warrior groups. And the Vaishya, they are the trading community. And the Sudra, they are meant for all, serving all the groups as a servant to them. So this is how the caste system, which started more than 3,000 years ago, and now it's also existing in every space of the life.
Okay, that is quite insightful. I guess I have a few questions, you know, in terms of what you've gone through. So what you've gone through in terms of the challenges is that religion is an issue.
Yeah.
Colonization was an issue that created the road or the path to differentiation in terms of class or caste in that sense. And that within the colonial era, you had a group that came from Iran, and also you had the Caucasians that came in as well with their ways of working. So when these ways of working came in, they just capitalized on some of the traditional challenges that were already in place and just made it worse by introducing further religious steps in terms of the pyramid. And therefore, what happened then is what's happening now in terms of other Indians then differentiating against other Indians. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
so
right.
In terms of your research then, how is it going to help the normal Indian person that's living in this situation and yet does not believe that there should be caste, but doesn't know what to do next, how does your research help the people in the wider community?
Yeah, I will start. This is very nice questions, like how my research will help the people. Like when I was in my childhood, I was never knowing this type of the situation is happening. But slowly when I entered to my 6th or 7th class, I came to know there is existence of caste, and on the caste basis, there is a discrimination going on. Even I have also faced many times in my life. I'm from this scheduled caste community, became a Sudra, which Ambedkar used to have from same community. So what he did, like colonial rule was there in India. So people were agitating against the British rule to the freedom. When the Quiet India movement was started, before that Sipai Motin was there. But at the same time, when Ambedkar educated from abroad, he also demanded like India should liberated from caste. Like caste is making them unfree since more than 3,000 years.
Yeah.
And on the basis of the caste, the peoples from the margin sections, those who are called downtrodden or like marginal depressed class, like Ambedkar used to coin as depressed class. And he started his main slogan or motto to emancipate these people was like educate, agitate, and organize, which he started in India 100 years back, taking to his ideas, how he thought, suppose some people in India, they are getting deprived of education, food, access, road, political represents everything in India, and they don't have right to read and all those things. That's why he has also burned that religious text called Manu Smriti in his movement, and he started organizing the people on the banner of depressed class. Then my paper basically is based on how people conscious about their oppression. Like earlier, they were oppressed since 3,000 years, and they were not engaging to revolt or organize. So he organized the people on the federation called scheduled that depressed class. Then later on, he developed a organization called Scheduled Caste Federation, then All India Scheduled Caste Federation. He developed the organization Scheduled Caste Federation in 1936. When that Scheduled Caste Federation was formed, and after that, he make the people united against their oppression, and finally he gave a constitution to India, which was drafted and submitted to the during that time the Parliamentary Committee Constitution Assembly, that was called Constitution Assembly, and it was approved. And 1950 January 26 it was adopted, and which is securing the right of the people against all this oppression. But my research is that like when I was doing my research, and I found some of the things which is like Ambedkar argued, education is the only gateway which can emancipate the people. That's why in his slogan, in his motto, he said, educate, agitate, and organize. Educate first, then agitate. Agitate means to know your oppression and who is oppressing you, and then raise your voice against them. So likewise, when I was doing this research, and I found even after like so many years after independence, India, so and we have a constitution, but still we have not achieved the social democracy. We have only achieved political democracy. Political democracy only in the term of we achieved a political power, but that is not transcend to the social democracy. So he also said, if you find any problem in this constitution, you also don't follow this constitution, try to modify it, try to change it if it's not work for the people. So in this sense, like we are still away from the social democracy that should give equal space to the society. So your question is how my work is helping to them. My work basically works them how that consciousness starts among the people. When Ambedkar did this, before that also Jyotiba Phule started this work when education was not allowed to these sections, and he revolutionary started a work on 1848 to 1852. First time he started some schools, 18 schools for the Dalits, or those were, they are also called Dalits in India, like downtrodden peoples. And through that school was a gateway for their consciousness. Like I called it a Renanza, caste Renanza. Like you can say that industrial revolution came through a Renanza period. So in Indian settings, that work of the Jyotiba Phule and Ambedkar, it is like a caste Renanza, which gave a beautiful constitution, which safeguarding on the rights of the downtrodden sections. But as I said, that education is the important part to get rid of all these things and to emancipate the people, those who are suffering. So when India independent, after that they have a provision for educational development. But in India, there are different types of education setting. Like there are some government schools, some private schools, and which is also some like private and public schools where education was not reaching to the community, those were downtrodden sections. And in my research, we have got an opportunity to give our recommendation to the Government of India. After that, Government of India initiating some residential schools for the downtrodden sections that is called as Ambedkar schools and Ambedkar Navodaya schools. So in this way, so we propose this, like I can say we, like downtrodden section, they don't have land, they don't have wealth, they don't have any means which can emancipate them, which can become a social and cultural capital for them. But education is the only way which can make the cultural capital, and if that can be affordable through the government, that can be a good means for their social change. In this way, we, like me and some of the people, those who are working for the downtrodden sections, when the new education policy came to a public opinion domain, and I was a part of that group to leading these initiations, where we propose to initiate a school which can give a cultural and social capital for the Dalits or for the downtrodden sections, who can be which can be help them for their social and upliftment, as well as political and social representation in the society. So in this way, so I think.
Can I just ask a question? Because you've said so much, and I need to make sure that it's clear to the audience. I guess the first question that I would like to ask, because you've gone through so much, the people, from this caste that, have been in that situation, and it's now a cultural norm, and they don't feel like we're suffering. How are you managing that group of people?
And this was a moment like Ambedkar did throughout his life. Then afterwards, that Panthers movements were in India, and after the Panther movements, that the people from this social gathering, like they have a federation, like Ambedkar scheduled them as a scheduled caste or scheduled caste federation, and this consciousness became much ahead in the form of Panthers movement and Dalit movements. And after that, the work of Kanchiram, Mayabati, those were the leaders in India who led the movement after Ambedkar. And their deprivation, like if I can give, and their discrimination, there are many examples in India now, like on the basis of this caste marker, people were differentiated. and even higher education space is not also fully open to them. And in a direct discrimination or in a hiding form of discrimination, they were discriminated, even it leads them their suicide. Like if you can go the Rohit Vemula suicide recently at the University of Hyderabad, which was especially a case where the institution involved like intentionally on the basis of caste, he were like in trouble, and the institution make him to do suicide. Like that's why we call it institutional murder. Not only the Rohit Vemula, but also there are many higher educational space is not safe for these Dalit communities or the downtrodden sections of the India, those who are segregated on the basis of the caste. And there are the people who do this on the basis of their caste privilege, and they are still uh, even not securing their life in higher education space. Their aspiration is murder. So in this case, taking to inference of these works, so we are engaging in how caste works in India. So there was a study all over India. So we are a part of that, who were looking what is the position of the caste, and these people, that lower section of the people or Dalit people, are in the education space or in jobs. So it's found even after we have constitutional safeguards, the caste is also still existing, and we need to mobilize the people, those who are suffering, and they should raise their voice against this and united to get the social justice and their equal rights and achieving social democracy.
Okay, so I guess the next question that I have is, if we were to take India and compare it to South Africa, do you see similarities in terms of colonialism, religion, and caste differences? And if you were to take your model based on you working with policymakers and examples that you've gone through, do you think it could be applied to South Africa to help it to do better? Because as you've seen on the news, I don't know if you've seen, sorry for assuming, you know, they had the issue with Jacob Zuma. He was put back into, well, not back into prison, he's been put in prison, and there were all those riots, and, you know, in terms of who, we're this tribe, and we're this, we're that. So I see similarities, but could your model, based on your findings and research and the work that's been done in the past, could that be taken into baby South Africa? Because it's still at infancy stage in terms of development because of all the challenges that they face.
Actually, in the context of South Africa, like colonialization was in South Africa as well as India. So when the people started agitated to get the freedom, during that time, Ambedkar was not only seeking the freedom, but he was more interested to get social democracy. So he worked for that and make a statutory status for the scheduled caste, which is a like a support, great support to them, and through which the community, those who are suffering, they are accessing their rights and they're demanding what needs to be do. But in case of South Africa, like if I can quote the work of Nelson Mandela and all, he fought against the social system, and also the system which was like a statutory system which was made against the people, and that racial discrimination are still there. And along with these, the social system which they have and the economic battle they're facing, and this colonial exploitation make them ruin. And in case of India, what happened, Ambedkar did not work only for the constitution or giving a democracy to the nation. He also works for that economic reform. Basically, he was an economist. He worked on the problem of rupee, as well as he established that reservation, like Reserve Bank of India, which was controlling the monetary system, as well as engaging in developing economy. So I can say, so there is a need of people's movement, and like Ambedkar did. Ambedkar get influences from Jyotiba Phule, then later Panther Party, as well as Dalit movements, and present day the movement of Kansiram Mayawati, as well as now the scholarly engagement of Indian academia, starting from many scholars, those who are continuously arguing, Gopal Guru, Sukhdev Thorat, and Ghanshyam Saha, and mainly the work of Kanchaila, which is really thought-provoking and engaging the people in this motto, like Ambedkar's work, starting from educate, agitate, and organize, really can give a better society and just society, which can be based on the principle of liberty, equity, and fraternity. Not only the liberty can help the society, it needs equity and equality and paternity. Like sometimes many people are arguing about the paternity, and paternity can also change the world when the belief of paternity can be expanded. So automatically it can help to emancipate the people from their downtrodden and exploitative position to ride a step ahead, which can give them social justice space. So
Okay.
this can be my suggestion. Like people needs to be educated and organized, then they can agitate against the system.
I guess I understand what you're saying. The reason why I've gone to South Africa, you know the challenges and you know what Nelson Mandela has done. And we can see the progression in terms of the news, Al Jazeera, we've got BBC, we've got CNN, so much, you know, in terms of journalism. And we've got people who are going there who are vlogging. So now we've gone to South Africa. I want to move it to Brazil, because Brazil as well is quite unique in the sense of you do have that challenge with caste. And if you look
Yeah.
at the presidents when they are running
Yeah.
for office, they tend to, you know, go down the road of, well, you know, us light-skinned people, us dark-skinned people, kind of, you know, theme or religious theme, you know, to which we've quantified to say that it does bring division. And with knowledge, there is change. So if we take that model again and we move it to Brazil,
Yeah,
do you think
sometimes
it would work?
actually it is space contextual. Like in Indian context, colonial rule was there, and there was a three-way competition. Like some progressive caste people or dominant caste people, they were leading, getting India freedom, and Ambedkar leading the Dalit movement. Those were downtrodden, and he proposed the colonial government during that time to get rid from this social system. But during that time, that progressive dominant caste people were also opposing his idea to making a separate electorate. But finally, it was ended with the reservation or affirmative actions for the lesser downtrodden sections. And similarly, in your case, so the race is a problem and the discrimination is there. And along with that, the resource which is available there. So how that can be beneficial for them, and that needs economic reform where the people can access their right. Like in neoliberal discourse, everything those who are supposed to come to the hands of the society is now in the hands of private players. Like if I can say in the context of India, like if you go to a Indian social setting or the political setting where you can get affirmative action and or the reservation system, if privatization exists there, so you don't have any right to claim your affirmative action system. So in that neoliberal policy, in one way, exclude the people, those who supposed to get affirmative benefit. So they are excluded directly by this privatization. So in this case, I don't know much how much you are following that WTO and GATT agreement. In this sense, that is a compulsion where the people have less space to move out. So to this context, and I can suggest, like, we are also demanding affirmative action in private space, where many scholars like Dr. and all already argued that if we cannot stop privatization, we should make a affirmative system within the private sector. So in this case, you are saying Brazil is also similar way they are developing country, but they are and there is also same problem. Neoliberalization has occupied all these spaces, along with their traditional problem, which was earlier there, and also colonial problem, and that exploitation, which has a limited space to come up. So in this regard, so I can say, so we need to relook our social setting and the policies, like global policies which is existing, whether that is helping to the community or it is employed to exploit them. So there is a need of study and also engagement of the civil society to bring justice.
Okay, I guess in terms of human rights then, would you say that, you know, when it comes to the document, the human rights document that we have currently, do you think it's fit for purpose based on everything that you've gone through?
Yeah, that human right document, it is a structure where we can achieve, but those who are implementing those that structure, when they're taking any issues, like if you can recently consider the vaccine and that COVID vaccine system, like many countries in Africa as well as in the Asian countries who are not able to getting that. So I was also asking some question to the body of some UN body, when I asked why can't the state control at least the health and the vaccination system. So they replied, so we are bound with the neoliberal policy where we have to follow the guidance norms of private firms, those who are engaging in the research of distributing that COVID vaccine and all those things. And that is basically depends upon the capabilities of the country. Those country can afford, they are easily getting the vaccines or getting more vaccinations program coverage. So in this way, like some like global bodies and those who are working in the human rights framework, they should be more sensitive towards localized problem instead of pushing their ideas as a global framework.
Okay, I mean, thank you for your response, and that was very insightful. So going back to India then, when it comes to caste and the differences, I know you've touched on it, would you say it's mainly the north of India that goes through these trials and tribulations, or would you say it's the whole of India, or maybe south of India, for example? Where would you say the concentration is currently, and that for that group specifically?
Actually, it is existing everywhere in India, like from the south, from the north, as well as east, west, everywhere it is rampant. But basically, the movement of Ambedkar, it was started in the Western India, and it was spread like Mumbai, we even call that Bombay, that is Western India. And when a movement started from Western India, and why it was in Western India, because Britishers were there in Bombay, and Ambedkar and Jyotiba Phule, they are from the Western India, and they started this movement and anti-caste movement, like caste is existing there, but the people of Western zone is more aware about their exploitation, and they are demanding their rights and all those things. And it is also equally exist in North as well as South as well as East. But there were also some movement, but that was not transgendered from their deprivation to a decent life. Why it is happened? Because the people of Western part, they engage more movement, civil right activities, even if they thought, like Ambedkar also said, religion was the major source which reproducing the caste.
In terms of religion there, you've mentioned. So in your own opinion, if he said that, would you say religion is a bad thing?
No, actually, he said one particular religion which make a theoretical book to reproducing caste, and also in practice they helped that this religion helped to spread of caste discrimination and all. 1956, Ambedkar was searching of a scientific religion instead of these superstitious, blind belief based religious. So after researching many things, he found that one religion which is scientific, that is Buddhism. That's why in 1956 he embraced with the Buddhism religion. But in this context, I can say religion can help to be moral, to be sympathetic towards others and all those things, which Ambedkar found in Buddhism religion. So
I have a question. I am thinking in terms of being nice to people, I mean, that's basics. That should be your parents that teach you that. Religion shouldn't really have to enforce how one behaves. So I think that one is a given from, the job description of a parent or the grandparents. If your parents do pass away, that's a job description that they need to work on. It's not the role of a religious book to do so. So I think that one we can eliminate.
Actually, in my opinion, I don't believe any religion. I don't follow also.
Mm-hmm.
But in India, that what is and their structure, that government, how it's run, in technically or officially, you have to show any of the religion to get any official benefit. All those things, like if you want to get a reservation or affirmative action benefit, you must be so as you are Hindu. Or like some religion which are listed as minority religions within that. So if you show you are not believing, so you are not counted as citizen. So now
wow. Oh, that is spicy. I like it. So basically, by force, fire, and lightning, you have to be part of a religious background.
Even if you are not following, not believing, but officially you have to write a religion to get all those things.
Wow, I've never known that. It's peculiar, and I guess it helps me understand why India is where India is. Because if religion is the biggest pusher, that means politics is behind, economics is behind. So then how does the GDP grow if we're all focused on religion and we have to abide by certain policies and procedures that are quite religious and not have to think about the economy? It doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, actually, what I can say, the people, those who are working, actually by practice, they may not be followed all those things, but that is the official procedure to write something. But they are quite engaging in this. Like if you can say Amartya Sen, he was in Global Narrative, he works for capability approach, and basically he also focused how that marginal section should be capable to access the resource. And his work, as well as many of the Lowell Narrett, whose works basically is to emancipate the people from their deprivation and all those things. So in this way, I can say Ambedkar is the only a great leader who was not only a nationalist, he was globally also acknowledged And his idea was also, I can say, he has given a constitution as well as democracy to the nation. And not only the political democracy, he also insists for social democracy, where society can be equilibrium at a point. So his thought, the people works in India as well as in abroad. So, and that public policy sometimes also helps to accessing that downtrodden section to achieve their goal. Like in India, what Ambedkar started in the form of affirmative action reservation. So I can say I'm a product of that. So when I came here with, for me, I don't have any access to social and cultural capital, only that public policy which helps me to reach here. So otherwise it was difficult, and that Ambedkar also dreamed the society will not change at a day, or it will take time. And he also not follow the path which can easily to change the society. He wanted to change the minds of the people, and his process was taking from federation to affirming status and ahead. It was tremendous. So we were following his path and engaging in social justice discourse academically.
Wow. I mean, I love the fact that the movement that he did start has opened doors in terms of opportunity, for scholars, to continue to push his work in a positive manner. So for that, I think that is amazing. I guess the next thing that I would like to ask is, what advice do you have for somebody that is back in India, because you're in Glasgow at the moment, aren't you, and is thinking, I am interested in research and I don't think I've got the opportunities because of my caste. What words of encouragement do you have?
Yeah, actually, the work which Ambedkar started, education can be emancipatory and can be a medium of change. Those who are engaged in this research and because of their caste, they are discriminated and they are deprived of some opportunity and getting into a space in academia as well as in employment sector. So in this sense, they should not be idle. They should fight for their deprivation. They should ask, or they should demand their rights, as you were saying, that public policy or affirmative action helps people to achieve their social ladder or going ahead in the social ladder. I can quote one case where this public policy was allotted to some of the deprived sections, but due to some bureaucratic process, few people from oppressive dominant category, they are trying to stop their fellowship as well as that public policy facilities. But he filed a case in the High Court and he win against those people. But when you are facing something, you should engage in demanding your rights, as well as they should be connected with some union or some of the groups in India. We call it equal opportunity cell. Earlier it was named as SC/ST cell, that scheduled caste scheduled tribe cell. And if they are facing any problem, they should report to that group and they can take their issues ahead in towards the social justice. And they should not leave this path. They should continuously engage and making their research not with the perspective of traditional way of findings. So they should work with innovative work which can be differentiated from others, as well as they should organize themselves to tackle the issues related to their psychosocial emotional problem which they're facing due to the caste in their educational setting. So in India or maybe in globally, they should organize with a group which can take their issues further to give them justice. So this is all, and they should engaging with network where they can share their ideas, problems, not only they hesitate to initiate their problems and all. So they should openly said what are the actual problem they're facing in their academic and social life. So that can be taken care with some groups and all those things.
Okay, thank
And
you.
they were also not worried about their academic performance and all, because traditionally they were not given any space in the academic place. So when they're coming to the this space, so there are many forces which are pulling down. So they should also aware about that, and also not losing their morals and strength to do. They can engage themselves with a different way where they can fight back the situation. Like Ambedkar has all problem in his life, even if he qualified from abroad and he got a civil service with some Baroda Raja, and in there he was not served equal glass to drink, and he was not able to touch the water. And he fight against that, and this is called fight back. And in my research I make it like the problem is with the Dalits, with the downtrodden section, with the marginal people. But if they can work, they can fight back also. It may be hard, but they can fight back with that situation. They should not like lose with the situation. They should inspire and fight back the situation as Ambedkar did. Like before that, I was also studying a professor called Gopal Guru. He was saying that life of Dalit or downtrodden or the marginal section is like there is a fair, and fair means and you put your hand in that fair, so you don't have any option to move out your hand. So Dalit life is like that. But I can say the lit life is also a space where you can move out with a fight back spirit. With I said it at reverse experience, like from the bitter experience, from the discriminatory spaces, you have to jump with a other option where that can be done with a strong motives and strong enthusiastic power, and also to do something for your community as well as nation, like the path of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, what he did 100 years back.
That is quite interesting, and I think it will help not just people in India, in the sense of there are a lot of groups that are quite oppressed, and they don't know which channels to follow, and they don't know how to express themselves. And I feel like your words will touch not just the group that's in India, but from a global perspective, it may help a lot of people, maybe just one person. I mean, I can't, say it's a lot of people, but I feel even I'm listening to it, and, as you know, that there are gender imbalances every now and then. It's like a thing. And, hearing your words, I can see how that can be applied in terms of my day-to-day, and learning to voice my pain, but in a positive light that ensures that the people behind me, they have a better path.
Yeah.
I think those are the words that you're saying. So thank you very much. That's really touching, and I'm really grateful that you've shared the wise words in that sense. And for the final question that I would love to ask you is, why come on PhD Hard Talk?
Actually, once I was in LinkedIn, so I got invitation from you. I accepted it. Then I thought I was following your works, and all people are sharing their views. I think information is the only way where you can spread the message that you have also a chance to get in. Like in my work, so that is one aspect where that marginal sections, they are not getting into any opportunity because of the information that they are not getting, where is the opportunity there, how to apply, how to apply this Government of India fellowship as well as all free SIF, and what is the procedure for that, what certificates required. And lagging this information, they are getting rid of that opportunity. And you are in great job where you aware the people to get rid from their stress and how to do the research and the difficulties of the research. Like you always fear about research. Some people like those who are traditionally suppressed. So for them, like engaging in research, doing study, it is always sometimes maybe boring. You are making it happening, and people are fearing, like fearful people are becoming listener of your program.
Yeah, they thank you thank you for that answer. And I guess in terms of your journey, I know that you finished your PhD.
And importantly, your program, if any success story, those who are coming from that downtrodden and depressed class to achieving such position, if you're interviewing them, that is a great inspiration, those who are following that program. So they can aspire also, one day I can become in this race.
No,
And I can do something.
yeah.
So this way, it is a great platform which giving inspiration for the people.
Thank you. I was just going to say, since you're doing a postdoc,
Yeah.
for somebody who's seen that you can finish your PhD, as you said, you came from the same group, and now you're doing a postdoc. I mean, I'm not on your level. I'm just not qualified enough to even have this discussion with you, because you're just like amazing. And I, in terms of your words then, to encourage them, because it's not an easy path. Like you said, research can be boring. Sometimes
Yeah,
it can be
it is boring.
amazing.
It was not boring. Like actually, when you have not catch the idea and the way how to click these things, it is boring. And once you get into the track, it is like a mathematics equation. When you know the trick, you will click very easily. Like if I can say my journey, like 4 or 5 years back. So I was new to the research and my PhD, and I was not knowing how to publish and all those things. Once I said my work to British Journal of Sociology of Education, my full paper. It was during, and that time they were not accepting through like online things. They are asking to send in a postal or mail, like hard copy. So they asked 3 copy of the paper. I have developed a paper, 25 page of article, and I send them with a 3 copy, 75 pages with a huge bunch, and that cost maybe 2,000 or 4,000 Indian rupee during that time, and that reached to the journal. So they have not accepted my journal. They send back my journal, that draft. And in that draft, again, they have also not spent the postal charges. When I receive my draft, I have to pay the British postal charges and all those things. It was again 5,000, and a person like me, it was a huge burden to me. So I thought I shared this to a big journal, and they have like back, like they have not accepted and sending back to me and what to do. So I was also a little disturbed for a few months, but slowly I never leave that thought, and I never gave up, and I engaging in different way how to publish and how to improve my work. But now I have like published more than 30 papers also, and here I'm working a proposal called like to publish my book in Oxford, as well as also co-editing with my mentor another book. So it is a journey where my draft was rejected, and it was a pain when I have to pay both of the fees, like sending the postal charge and receiving back also postal charge. And even they have not given any comments on that paper. Wow. Only just just sent back. But
Just
now
rejection.
now publishing with Sage and all other working on Oxford kind of things, it is like great journey where nothing was there, and now I'm achieving this. So this can be inspiration for others. Like if they think when a student who have got rejected, also he can be establish himself, and like in later phases of life, nothing is like permanent or absolute.
Hey, well, wow. I'm like, see, if I had spent my 2,000 rupees or 4,000 rupees and you send it back to me, I am coming back to the office. I am going to turn up. Like I'll be flipping chairs. Like, what do you think this is? I've written that, no comments, and then you're making me pay for it to receive it. How dare you? Like, it would be dramatic. So you're humble. I love it. And I think that is very inspirational in the sense of on Twitter, I'm sure you've seen the memes whereby PhD students or postdoc, they're like, oh, reviewer one will say great things, reviewer two just finishes your life and you're depressed. So your words are quite encouraging to that group who are experiencing being rejected, and you're writing books, you've had more than 30 publications. I mean, that is an amazing, I wouldn't say it's a Cinderella story because I feel like that's just rude, but that is an amazing life in the sense of you've achieved a lot of milestones. So to you, I say, wow, that is amazing, literally. Well, way forward. But I have one more question.
You can.
I'll only say one more and then, I keep talking. I guess what I would like to know is, do you have any wise words for somebody who's working in India and comes from a similar background as you and feels like, do you know what, I'm not getting a promotion at work because I'm from this group, I'm from this caste, and I've been working and my family depends on me, and I feel like I'm letting them down, but because of my caste, the doors just keep getting shut and shut in my face, and I'm not getting what I need for my life. What words of encouragement do you have?
Yeah, my first encouragement that like to know his real problem. Like when we were working in Delhi, so we also came across many people, those who are facing similar problem in their life, like few of the students, those were from marginal background, and because of their caste and their guide or supervisor, they in India, they're creating problem for him or somebody, those were similar cases. So we reached to them, and then we have a buddy, like we have one mentor, his name is Professor N. Sukumar. So he is leading all those issues in India, where the people should, he was from the university where uh, he was saying that people should like speak their problem. Many times what happen, people are not like revealing their problem. So at the end, they are going traumatized situation where at the end, maybe many people are doing suicide. So I can suggest, if it is like creating problem utmost, so he should not give up his work. He should engage. One day that chance will come and he can engage. And I can also connect him, those who are working to help him, or financially or morally, or maybe somebody who is working, I can connect with them to who can counsel them in their problem.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to everybody that's at home, that feels like, I'm in India right now. It's fun and games. You talking about it, Dr. Dhaneswar. Please contact Dr. Dhaneswar. He will connect you. Where he can't, he will be specific. I cannot help you. Don't take offense. It's not everything that we can help with, but where we know people when it comes to mental health, mentoring in terms of your career, or in education, higher education specifically, where to apply if you want to do a PhD or to leave the country, what routes should you take and how should you conduct yourself with your peers from around the world, because there's a cultural shock as well. We have to take that into consideration, and Dr. Dhaneswar will be able to assist with that as well. And there's also a culture shock in terms of how you apply abroad, be it the US or, you know, Europe or Asia in terms of China, or, you know, Africa as well, if you want to dab in those universities. So the options are there, but you need guidance and you feel like, okay, that sounds great. Please send him an email. He may not contact you back then. Give him about 48 hours or 7 working days. The man is busy. He's writing a book. He's got papers to publish, and he's trying to work with the policy writers in India to ensure that the caste differences from the colonial era, be it tribal, religious, they have a better way of working, which is we need change to make our lives better through knowledge, wisdom, and basics, just behavior and conduct. So contact Dr. Dhaneswar. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah.